Hi everyone, Sumatsuki here for Nightlife Exchange with another Sue's Muse. Today I have, oh my goodness, the list of credits: singer, songwriter, author, director of the American Songbook Association, ASA. I mean, there's so many hats that you wear. I know that you even bake for, is there anything that you don't do? Craig Pomrantz, everyone.
Hi, Sumatsuki. Hi.
Hey, we're here finally. Yay.
Yes, yes.
So
It's so
tell
good because we don't ever get, we're out when we see each other. There's no real time to chat.
to
So we
just
need
sit and
actually we
talk.
need to just you have to come over for some cake.
Good. I'll bring some fancy tea or something.
Okay.
I know you and I are both bakers, so we'll have to have a bake off and then get that Karen Mack to join us. We're all like cabaret bakers. So speaking of cabaret, you're right. We pass each other. We don't sit down and have long conversations with each other because, we're being polite in other people's shows and rooms and stuff like that. We admire each other's work, whatever. Tell me a little bit about what you've been doing along with Carolyn Montgomery with the American Songbook Association. And you're doing this very special, what can I call it, a scholarship or an
A
endowment?
grant. We're calling it a grant.
A grant.
Yeah, I'm board president of the American Songbook Association at the moment. Carolyn Montgomery is our executive director. Frank Dane is the editor of Cabaret Scenes, as we all know. And it's just, I just thought after a while, well, when I'm able to go to shows because I travel so much, but when I'm able to go, I just realize I see all these people who are, doesn't matter if they're beginning or if they've been there forever, but our darling Sarah Rice had once said, there's no, what did she say? Now that I'm,
We're all fighting over the same chicken bone was one of
well, no,
them.
well, she's that, yeah, no, but she said there's no expiration date on cabaret.
There you
So
go.
the wide range of who can do it and why they do it and what they do. But the frustration is always focusing on, well, I need to get butts and seats. And so many people, and there are some clubs that actually will cancel you if you don't have a certain amount. And I just
Yeah,
think,
the contracts have gotten more reprehensible
yeah,
against the
especially
performer.
if they're not helping get people in
Right,
seats, which is very
right.
frustrating.
Yeah.
That was my article about how the media doesn't cover cabaret
I
anymore.
just
Everyone
read
should look
that.
at that
Yes.
article. But
I'll actually link that on the bottom below. I'll link to that article so anyone watching this can actually go read that. So
Great. So, but anyway, more to the point was that I just remembered what it was like when I was first starting out, and I was very lucky because for some reason I just started performing all the time in a lot of different clubs in the city, which was permissible, and everyone liked that. There wasn't this sort of weird competition about, well, you sing there, you can't sing here.
yeah, you have to be a club singer. Yeah, a
Yeah.
residency or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And then, but I just remembered, at some point and I took some breaks for various personal reasons, but I just remembered that, a lot of it was the financial aspect of it. Like, what can I do next? Should I
Mhm.
record? Should I get in a club? Can I get people there? And I just thought if we put together some money to help defray that stress from people so they can do whatever they want with it, obviously, but hopefully
Mhm.
it's so that they can do more focusing on the fact that they love to sing. And that's what they're doing is they want to tell a story through music. And
Mhm.
that's what I'm hoping to help people with.
So everyone, this grant is personally endowed, $5,000, and you said you're going to share it between one and five. I'm assuming there's some kind of committee. I will have the link on below here for anyone who wants to apply and put in an application. The deadline's May 1st.
Right.
Who are you looking for? Who is that person? I mean, not only someone in need, but is there a prototype that you're reaching out to that you'd like to see apply for this?
Well, the great thing about cabaret is that there is no prototype.
As
Um,
Sarah said, yes. Yeah.
right. So what there is the desire to keep the art form of cabaret going, and and the wish to perform. Someone who really wants to perform and is wanting to pursue that part of their lives. And so no, we're hoping to just so we're still in the beginning stages of figuring out how to do this, but we were kind of worried that we would be so over millions of people. So what we're trying to do is just see what's submitted, and then look through who is obviously has whatever one perceives of as some sort of talent and reason for being there, and that doesn't mean a pretty voice. Some of the greatest singers in the world have three notes, as we know. Fred Astaire is a good example. And then who is after that? We sort of narrow it down to the idea of who is more in need of something,
Need,
and
yeah.
we'll try and figure out through what we get uh, how to pare it down. We pare it down, and then there's like the group of us will just sort of look at it and make some decisions.
Tell me
And
about what's going on at the Songbook Association. What's on the agenda coming up? Is there galas? There were special shows coming up,
there are
or
so many things happening. We have the Daryl Henline Award coming up, and the we will announce the Pomrantz Performance Grant winners at that particular event. We're preparing for the new gala coming up. I believe September or October. I'm not positive about that, but we mostly what we're doing is Carolyn, who's the head of our education department. We're teaching or we're taking the songbook to schools have lost arts fundings, public schools, private schools. Private schools are better because they obviously have some sort of an honorarium that can give us. And we're introducing the book to young people who will never hear it. And it's not, well, I also want to clear up something. The American Songbook for us doesn't just mean the songs and standards of the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
right? It's the
Simon and
growing,
Garfunkel,
yeah.
Bob Dylan,
Beatles, yeah,
Bruce Springsteen,
yeah.
your favorite. Yeah, and
I do like Bruce. Lisa Vigiano turned me on to Bruce Springsteen. I didn't know I liked him until I saw her show. So,
and uh, and we're not trying to create performers. We're
mhm.
taking what music does to help people in their lives. It is mentally so amazing when you see these kids who are too shy and then having music makes them less shy, or that they're able to just like articulate through music what they can't do just on their own. And it's just a remarkable experience. The education program, and we're in Chicago, and we hope to go to other cities as well. That's what we're aiming
Well, let me
for.
talk about you as an educator too. You not only perform globally and have like an international tour as a singer, and you also teach. And I know we have a mutual friend named Derek out in Seattle. You're going to be going to the Seattle Festival.
Yeah.
And I found that out because I said to Daryl, I said, yeah, I'd love to become a part of that. So I approached the people there, and then they told me that they had an association with you. I said, well, you are in the best hands possible. So tell me a little bit about how that happened. And you're going out there soon because it's happening in May, right?
Yeah, the Seattle Cabaret Festival with Arnaldo and Angie run it in May, the end of May. Yeah, I started. I have never been very good at sort of pushing what I do as a director, or not a director, more as a doctor.
Mhm.
I go into shows, a lot of Broadway performers mostly, and sort of doctor what they do, because the difference between singing for thousands of people and singing as a small intimate space, as you know, is completely different.
Mhm.
And that's a big issue for a lot of these big Broadway performers who don't know how
Coming
to
to,
stay
I
on
mean,
the
even
floor.
places like 54 Below, which is big, they still perform at people rather than the way we do in cabaret to people. And that needs to be addressed because the voices are fantastic, but there's this over sense of, this overriding sense of, oh my God, it's
Yeah,
so big.
I've got to reach you somewhere. And
Yeah,
also there are people who have learned how to sing for a character in a show as opposed to just being who they
themselves.
are. I often tell people the hardest thing in the world is stand-up comedy. The
Yeah.
second hardest thing is what we do, because we're standing there with just a mic, a piano, and telling our stories however we do it through music.
Mhm.
That's not so easy, because we want to, and it's not about the pretty sound of your voice or vocal pyrotechnics to create drama. It's really just about the simplicity and authenticity of who you are when you stand in front of people. So
And the
anyway, I
connection to the
started
lyric.
teaching.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started doctoring some of those people, which I love doing,
Mhm.
and not because I like telling people what to do, but because
Oh,
actually,
I totally do.
no, but I actually want people to be wonderful.
I know. Yeah.
It's just you see people up there who have talent. I mean, a lot of people have beautiful voices. That doesn't mean they can sing, and I
Or
see
that
it.
they move the audience. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's maybe my thing, because everyone has different ideas about a format of what a
Mhm.
cabaret show should be. And for me, if I get one song that really moves me, I'm already there. I'm okay. I'm okay with whatever else goes on. I just want to be moved and understand what that person is trying to tell me.
How many years have you been doing cabaret and how did you find your way to it? I assume you had a theatrical background or a musical background.
Do we have to give out numbers and age and
No,
stuff?
well, not ages, but just, just in terms of, I mean, how many shows do you have, in your repertoire, for example?
Well, part of my problem is that I did like 3 or 4 shows a year.
Mhm.
So it was a constant revolving thing. So I sort of wanted to spontaneously just keep doing things. Not that I was ever bored, but
Mhm.
it's just that because I had such a repeat audience and I want them to have new things to hear all the time.
Yeah.
So I came here with Jose Lone, a dancer, as you know, dancer yourself. And when I went to a piano bar, and I actually, when I was 16, went on a theater field trip and sang at a piano bar, and people just sort of said, you have to sing.
Mhm.
Some of the great singers, Teddy King, who people don't necessarily know, but should look her up. Teddy King,
Mhm.
T-D-I King, one of the
Okay.
great jazz singers. And when I came here, I started singing, and Ted Hook came up to me and said someone canceled an engagement at my on stage, which was this massive cabaret room, beautiful room. And do you have an act together and do you want to sing? And I, of course, come from that background of theater where, of course, I can roller skate, I can sing, I can, whatever you want, I can do it. So I
Plate
said,
spin, you get.
yeah. And he booked me, and then I was like, oh, I guess I should put a show together.
Yeah.
And it was, for whatever reason, it was sold out, and it just continued from there. And I
Okay.
just kept singing, and it was never, all my training is as an actor. I went to the Goodman Theater, I went to Carnegie Mellon, and that's really, and trained with Lynn Cohen, who
Mhm.
everyone must know from Sex and the City or The
Yeah.
Hunger Games or Law and Order. She was my mentor. Her husband became my producer and director.
So what was your
So
day
that's very
job?
recently.
I mean, what was your day job? Right. I mean, I know that you're now an author and I want to talk about that next, but what was your day job prior to
I
starting to
never,
sing?
I never really had. When I first came here, I had a day job with the owners of Xenon, which was the counterpart to Studio 54,
I see.
and that was not long. And then I briefly had a job at Hearst, the Hearst family, working for them for 2 years. And other than that, I've always earned a living singing, knocking on
Well,
something.
good for you. Now let's talk about you as an author. Now you are, again, an internationally published child's book author. Tell me about this series that you do. And I mean, do you have another one coming up? How many do you have out there? I will also put a link to where you can buy these books down below if you have grandchildren or children that you want to buy a great book for. But tell us a little bit about that and how that happened.
I had an incident with my godson, and I said to his mother, who is an actress, I said, "This is a play. You should write this as a play." And she was just sort of hemming and hawing. And I don't know, for some reason, I went home and I just sort of wrote it down. And I was singing in London, and we were out at a table, and someone said, "Oh, Craig wrote this book. Someone should look at it." And I was like, "Why are you talking about this book?" It was just something I wrote for us. And and she said, "Well, send it to me." And I sent it to her, and she had a friend who was a publisher and they called me a week later and said, "I want to publish it." So it was a total lucky happenstance. I mean, it's I don't have the discipline that other writers do, but it's an important story about stereotyping
Mhm.
and toxic masculinity and all of that stuff. So the timing
Wow.
couldn't have been more perfect, even more perfect now.
Yes.
And so it was very exciting that it happened, and it's in 11 countries and 8 different languages, and they're printing it now in Asia, which is very exciting. And right now we're aligning it with I think a Black illustrator to move it into that arena, and hopefully a Latin illustrator as well,
Beautiful.
because those are really important areas for this kind of a book.
Particularly for that topic and stereotyping and everything. Yeah, wow, that's awesome.
And I've written several, and it's all about children empowerment. I mean,
Mhm.
well, helping raise. I don't have kids. I do a million parenting podcasts, and I love
Mhm.
doing that, especially because they say, "How many kids do you have?" And I say, "Well, none." But
But I bake.
well, and it never gives us from giving advice, right?
Right. No, I'm like they call me the godmother of cabaret. I don't have any children, but I had 7 brothers, so I guess I have those skills somewhere in me.
And actually, common sense is a really big part of anything we want to do.
Yeah.
So
And
I've
being of
written
a certain
several other books.
age.
uh,
Being,
So I've written several other books about children empowerment that are being looked at that haven't been published yet. But it's all about empowering children and helping them be more aware of who they are and the world around them. One is about body image. I really want that one to be.
Yeah, that's more timely too. But I have to say, I wish as a larger size gal and who was a chubby kid, I wish I had the role models that a lot of the young girls have because they own their curves now. It's less, but there's still this whole body shaming thing and everything. So that is an important topic, as topical as all these other topics. So I'd love to see
Absolutely.
something on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that even more so because of social media. and
Yeah,
then and everything we're bombarded. Young people are bombarded because that's their go-to,
right.
and I so it's a frustrating thing. So we're trying to get out there. I almost got a show for ABC almost hired me to produce a show a treatment about a reality talk show for young people because we never
Boy,
hear
that would be
their
timely.
voices. Well, the reason it came about was after the shootings in Connecticut and all these articulate young
Mhm.
people. And I said, and what's funny to me, not funny to me about it, is it's so important because we don't give them a voice. And
Right.
usually their voice is like making fun of them or they're about jokes and it's that kind of thing. But we never take them seriously. And we forget one of those young persons back then is now in Congress. It's like these are the people of the now. They're not the people of the future. They're of the now.
Yeah.
And we need to hear their voices. And it's important to me. And I'm really trying to get that show on the road.
That also goes back to what you guys are doing at the American Songbook Association in terms of the outreach programs to educate and keep the American Songbook alive, but more importantly, adults reaching out to children in a different way through art, which I think we need now more than ever in terms of squelching all the negativity and this anger and this climate that we're currently living in. So congratulations to you and thank you. I wanted to thank you publicly for everything you guys are doing over there, but you in particular for this grant that you're putting up. It just blew my mind that somebody in our community put their money where their mouth is and doesn't just talk the talk, but walks the walk. And I can't tell you, all the information will be below this actual video interview, and you can just click on links and it'll take you to the application. It'll take you to Greg's website. You can hear him sing a little bit. I'll make sure that you know everything that this wonderful gentleman is. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you had one piece of advice to give to a youngin, or even a not so youngin, even somebody out there starting their career in cabaret, what would it be?
Keep doing it. It only works if the experience of doing it is what you need to do. You need to stand up in front and get used to the idea of this is what you do. And I think also I would say try and remember what the impact is of the one person that you reached when you started doing it, instead of worrying about the broader idea of like, oh, I'm going to be famous. Oh, this works for everybody. If you reach one person, that says everything. It says
Yeah.
everything.
I would add to that, like, I don't know, I'm sure you're about this too. I enjoy the process as much as I enjoy as being on stage, because the process is what brings the real growth. Yes, being on stage and taking it to stage is the proof that you've done your work. So, thank you
And
so
the
much.
discovery of what you're doing.
Right,
I mean, the thing is, you discover yourself as you do it. The
right.
more you do it, the more you discover yourself, and you change all the time, and
Yeah.
you want to embrace the changes that come with you.
I mean, you and I've been doing this a long time. I know that I have had moments on stage where something became something different to me in the moment of singing it. But as an educator, to watch that happen, to actually see the light bulb go off in front of somebody's head that you've been working with and see that they're getting what it is you want them to get and convey is just the best part of teaching and being in this industry.
I
So,
had when I was teaching at the master class at the Capitol D.C. in Washington D.C. this last weekend or 2 weekends ago. One of the greatest things. These are all singers, trained singers at universities, and the biggest message I had to say to them was stop singing, right?
yeah.
And worrying about the sound of your voice. And when you see that change, that click, as you were saying, of like, oh, this means something different than I thought it did because I didn't think of it. I was worried about the song but I didn't realize that the words had something more resonant for me as a person.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today. I know you know him. I know most of you who are going to watch this know him, but there's so much more to this man, and I want you to know everything there is to know about Mr. Craig Pomrantz. Thank you for joining us. I'm
Thank
Sue
you so much.
Matsuki. Until the next time on Sue's Muse, we are Nightlife Exchange. Thank you so much, my love.